वो बॉल नहीं कर रहा बॉल कहाँ गया उठा दिया बॉल ओह सॉरी भाग के कोई बात नहीं छोड़ Come run fast. No. Underarm, man.
I didn't say.
एक तो भाई लड़कों को समझाना ही बड़े बात होता है Good one.
Akil. 8. Thank you. Why does it say Kashi? Is that you?
Yeah. Like Oba.
Like I'm not Andy, I'm Oba. Huh?
Akil.
Akil, you have a number?
Not yet. 88.
And you don't have it, but it's only for tonight.
Walid. Rende aaja.
Akil, sorry, I forgot already. What was it?
बाउंस पे
विकी भाई कुछ और ये करना है।
करो 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 तो अंडर आर्म जो है ना ओ सॉरी अंडर आर्म
बस लकी कोई तो
नहीं कोचिंग वैसे तो थोड़ी बहुत हल्की हल्की डायनामिक स्ट्रेच करते रहोगे ना तो बॉडी पूरी खुल जाएगी
फेंको 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 बॉलर कौन है दो बॉलर कौन है
बैटिंग करता हूं बॉल
जाओ बॉलिंग कराओ बॉलिंग कराओ बॉलिंग करो बॉलिंग बॉलिंग
कवर कर आजा इनको बस
खालिद खुद तुझे बोलिए
खालिद
इधर इसको कैच दे
जाके खोलो अपनी बॉडी
वाइड को भेजता हूँ
यहां से ना
वाइड भाई वाइड अपना से स्टार्ट कर लो वाइड
गाइस कैप्टन प्लीज
बच के ओबा इसका पार भी पड़ता है
आजा वाइड कैचेस दे
जो पकड़ लूं वो फेंकना
वॉकिंग करेंगे कैच दे
आजा
लाइन में आजा लाइन में आजा इसके पीछे आजा थोड़ा बहुत तेज मार हल्का सा ये क्या करना है ऐसे प्यार से मेरा चलो ट्राई करते हैं
आजा विकी तू आजा
क्या दे रहे विकी भाई
हैं नहीं वही कहता ना मारो इसको अंडर आर्म मारियो दोस्त
सब पहली बार खेल रहे हैं
गुरु में दौड़ जाना में तो नहीं पर तो खास स्टूडियो dole
kime sesleştim bak sesleştim
बच गया
आजो लगा ओए तेरे सर पे लगता है कहीं नहीं पकड़ता अभी
तो ध्यान रखो ना अपने पीछे
अब उधर साइड में जा रहा हूं जहां लगी साले वही लग रही है डर लग रहा है सॉरी
जो थ्रो है ना आपकी अंडर आर्म वो प्रॉपर आनी चाहिए इसको
मुझे हाथ में मारो के पास से
सबसे गलत अंपायर ने अभी किया सॉरी
हाँ एक ही हैंड है bowling.
टीम के पैड में
एक ही हैंड से bowling करना.
देखिए ब्लैक पैड्स है आपके पास
नहीं पूरा कैमरा पास है तो पूरा
Oh yeah, yeah.
अखिल के पास ये टीम के पैड में
I haven't.
ये लोग टीम के लिए
लकी
Ah, okay, that's what you said.
मेरे ग्लव्स रखिए
One more, Rich.
यूके जाना था सितंबर में तो खेल रहा है लेकिन
Are we going to tell the difference?
हाँ नहीं
Have your belly got any smaller than last year or not?
You can measure.
I don't want so.
सर अभी
Are you going to wear a cap or not? You're going to wear a cap?
अरे पहले मैच से लोग बहुत आ रहे हैं मैच देख
Stay with the TV.
बहुत लंबा सीजन था यार
हमारी टीम में से वसीम भाई आएंगे सबसे पहले
इस बार तो है ना इस साल
हाँ और रेस्ट
माइक के सामने बैठ गए
सारी
बातें
वो क्यों नहीं खेल रहा है क्या कहते हैं मनीष
कौन
मनीष
व्हाट हाँ
पर मिलते हैं
यस यस माइक यार अभी जो है भाई कम से कम बस है 1 मिनट ना छे नहीं केफ मास स्टेज से की ओ बेबे राके क्या हेलमेट ना छे अगला सवाल मुझे पता है उसका मतलब हर चीज में अवेलेबल है वो सिस्टम में नहीं है उसका कुछ सपन के शायद खुद नहीं है अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं होगा उसका
किसी पर ग्रिप करनी है सिर्फ है
लेकिन देंगे आपको ऐसा हाँ ये कराची में ये कराची से आया होगा स्पेशल
इसकी दुनिया अभी भी फोनों के आसपास ही घूम रही है
नहीं
फोन साइकिल जो लोग मरने मराने की बातें करते हैं लोग मरने मराने की बातें हो रही हैं आजकल
कराची में मोबाइल फोन अच्छा नहीं रखोगे क्या कराची में मोबाइल फोन अच्छा नहीं रखोगे
तो कराची
उधर अगर अच्छा फोन हो तो मोटरसाइकिल वाले आ जाएंगे कहेंगे बेटा दे दो
कराची गरीब बहुत है
कराची गरीब
बता रहा हूँ मैं कराची में बहुत गरीब है कराची
वो बड़ी ऐसी ऐसी करता पंजाबियों की वो कहते हैं तो उन्होंने उर्दू की मांगलन दिया कहता है पंजाबी अक्सर में उर्दू बोलते हैं उर्दू का रेप कर दिया कहते हैं उन्होंने भाजी ऐसे वैसे वो कहता है पंजाब वाले जब उर्दू बोलते हैं उर्दू की ऐसी तैसी कर देते हैं कहता
मतलब तू
अरे मैं नहीं
तू पंजाबी नहीं
अरे परले पंजाब के उर्दू बोलते हैं हम थोड़ी उर्दू बोलते हैं हम पंजाबी बोलते हैं
पोटोहारी है ना पिंडी की
हम घर बार पे एक ही बोलते हैं
तो हम सही बोलते हैं।
उर्दू तो वैसे सही तो यूपी की है।
नहीं उसकी दक्कन, हैदराबाद दक्कन उधर
यूपी क्या है भाई उर्दू? यूपी सही है।
हैदराबाद गढ़ का उर्दू का जुबानों का
Sä tiedät vanhasta sedestä intialaisista, kyllä nää on niin tommoista porukkaa kaikki. Nää on ainoa... En mä voida vastata, että voikaa tehdä.
वही सर तो मुझसे नहीं वो रोक यार हम चुप देखो वो बच्चा तस्वीर दिवा लेकर انت تسعر عن ميدي لك دورة خلنا ايه لك دورة خلنا ايه ما تحفرات وقع ابو اشتين انت ما انت تسلك كمان
Sitten se sanoi sulle seuraavaksi niin, että milloin sä tiputat kopin ja milloin sä syötät no ballin. Niin. Sä olit vielä Junnilan sekaan.
आगे ले जा, आगे थोड़ा माइक से आगे ले जा।
उधर आ जा
सारी गाड़ियाँ माइक पे
सारी गालियां पे रहेगी यार
ले जाते हैं छोटे से लगे हुए
सिद्धू और जाकी की नोक झोंक का पूरा एंटरटेनमेंट होगा यहाँ माइक पे।
थोड़ा सा आगे ले जाएंगे।
सिद्धू
थोड़ा और आगे थोड़ा इधर नहीं बैठना ना, ऐसे आवाज़ गालियाँ जाएंगी इधर।
सिद्धू के खिलाफ
अरे मुझे क्या लगा था मैं तुझे खिलौना
अभी देखिए कितने प्यार से बात हो रही है। 10 मिनट रुक जा, 10 मिनट रुक जा।
माइक है ना, माइक हटा लो तब बोल
एक रोटी का टुकड़ा जो पड़ता है ना तो भर जाता है।
Vie se vähän pidemmälle.
नहीं मैं sanoin
Pelkä mustata है
चलो अपनी किट भी वाले यार
अगली भर्ती पे ले जाओ।
अपनी किट भी वही दे सकते हैं।
हाँ उधर ही चलते
उधर ही ले चलते हैं सामान।
वही ले चलो।
हम हाथ नहीं लगा सकते हैं।
Zahid. Zahid. Divin.
मैंने टीम अपडेट किया मुझे वाले बाबू शेरे
शेरी शेरी तू भी इन कपड़ों में नहीं आ सकता, क्या ये होने चाहिए फिर या फिर कोई ब्लैक टॉप होनी चाहिए। हाँ वो पहन ले, पहले
इतना हैं
भाई साहब एक तो फायदा है हमें, हैं?
हमको एक फायदा हुआ आज।
No pressure. Thomas, one more thing about the voice. Is it okay if I...
वो मेरे साथ थोड़ा पर्सनल हो गया तो उसका जैकेट पर भी और कवर के अवेलेबल है काली वाली गाड़ी ओए तभी तो वो बाहर खड़े हैं उधर खुलती इससे है ना
पीछे वाली
वो कह रहा है ध्यान से बैठे देख रहे सबका डिस्टेंस होना चाहिए थोड़ा बहुत
क्या बैटिंग लाया
3-4 उसके बाद बेस्ड ऑन सिचुएशन 5 लकी
ठीक है
And it's a very warm welcome to the Kerava National Cricket Ground here in Finland for a cricket-starved European cricketing community special, one might say, as we're about to get underway in the Finnish Premier League, the T20 Premier League. And we're watching Helsinki Cricket Club against Vantaa Cricket Club in the Finnish T20 Premier League. The first cricket of this summer season here in Finland, and it seems the first cricket anywhere in Europe, which is a bonus. That's why we're with you today from not quite a sunny Kerava, as the first scoring shot looks like being a drop, in fact. And they go through for a single. Helsinki are in the dark blue. They're the ones batting. They won the toss, decided to bat. And they're the first chance and the first run. Mangal, the batsman, who's off the mark for Helsinki. So it's promising to be dry, at least here in Kerava. You perhaps wouldn't have thought on the first day in June that you'd be heading to the northern climes of Finland for your cricketing action, wherever you are in the world. La Manga it isn't, but it's warmish for Finland, and it's dry. And the ground looks a picture, having been relayed before this season. There's no run scored off that, just one from the over so far, and that dropped catch. We'll be talking hopefully throughout the evening to Andrew Armitage, who's the chairman of Cricket Finland, who until this weekend didn't know this was going to happen. We knew the cricket was going to happen, but we didn't know we'd be showing the world this cricket, which is a welcome bonus for us in little Finland here. Helsinki Cricket Club, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the setup in Finland, are the reigning champions of this competition, having done the double last season, having won the 40 over one day competition and the T20 competition. Another ball is this time called a wide. Another run to the Helsinki score. 3 without loss. And Helsinki Cricket Club were due to be Finland's representatives in the European Cricket League this summer, but unfortunately, because of the worldwide situation, that competition has been postponed for the season. But I guess we should all just be grateful that we are playing some cricket at long last. So wherever you are, a warm welcome, and enjoy what we have to offer over the coming week and a half here in Finland. Mix up between the batsmen here. The throw wasn't that accurate. And there's no run. So 3 without loss, Helsinki. Final ball of this over. It's a foolish delivery, which elicits a big swing, but no contact. End of the first over then. 3 without loss. And just to fill you in a little bit more about the situation here in Finland, I mentioned we're in Kerava, which is about 20-25 kilometres north of Helsinki. And this is the home to the KNCG, the Kerava National Cricket Ground, which was opened in 2014. So it's a purpose-built, it was the only purpose-built cricket ground in Finland. We now have a couple of others, grass pitches. This one is an artificial strip, but the outfield, of course, is grass. Another one in Vantaa, which is home to one of the teams playing tonight, those in light blue, Vantaa CC. And Finland, of course, was due to host the one of the ICC World T20 European qualifying events at the end of this month, but unfortunately what would have been a day in the spotlight for Finland again has has been cancelled because of the worldwide situation. And just in case your eyes might be deceiving you on the pictures, we're only bowling from one end here. That's why it looks identical. As the second over is due to start now. And this should be runs for Helsinki. Mangal moves on to 2 and brings Qureshi back onto strike, yet to score. The bowler for Vantaa, Madura Milan. I'm not going to try and pronounce his surname, if that is indeed his surname. He runs away from us here towards what we are terming the brewery end here in Kerava. You might just see the tops of the brewery behind as this one is sliced down to third man. They're going to pick up a couple of runs. Helsinki not off to a flying start here, but no wickets down. We're in the second over. Helsinki, as I say, the reigning T20 champions, and also the reigning champions from the 40 over one-day format. So what you might term favourites for this is the first boundary of the match. Lovely square cut, a couple of bounces through to the boundary rope. A welcome release of pressure, and Qureshi takes his score now on to 6. I say later on in the broadcast this evening we'll be talking to hopefully the chairman of Cricket Finland, Andrew Armitage, who's been instrumental in bringing so much cricket to Finland. Quick single taken into the offside. Oh, direct hit. It's a terrific piece of fielding. The umpire, though, in a good position, doesn't give it out, and the single stands. It's hotted up a little bit now into this second over after a fairly slow start as the sun bathes Kerava here for the first time properly this evening. Cool here, probably 13-14 degrees, as you might expect in Finland, which is a shame that we didn't have the weather of the weekend where it was in the low 20s, but it does promise to stay dry throughout the week, so we should have plenty of action for you here on the ECN. And straight drive now, goes to the fielder at mid-on, quick single, fumble, and no danger to the batsman. 12 without loss, Helsinki at the end of the second over. And yes, we'll hopefully explain a little bit more about how this venue came into being, because it's quite a story behind it for little old Finland to be hosting international matches as it did last summer. The first recognised, ICC recognised T20 international that Finland ever played in. We had a round robin, a three-way tournament with Spain, who were the visitors last year. And Finland, of course, were due to play in the ICC T20 European qualifiers at the end of the month that I mentioned earlier had been postponed, sadly. But nonetheless, we're happy just to have some cricket as we go into the third over. And this is a big shot now, but there's a fielder interested underneath it coming in from mid-on. Oh, has he spilt that one as well? There's 2 drops then inside the first 3 overs. I'm trying to remember if it's the same fielder or not that spilt both. I'm being told not, so I shouldn't do him a disservice by naming him. Just looking to see whether we can blame the sun for that one. Another push through the triangle up to mid-off, and an easy single for Helsinki. going to continue. This one is left alone outside the off stump, no run. I mentioned we'll have a little chat throughout the evening with some of the, or throughout the week in fact, with some of those responsible for bringing cricket to Finland, and we'll have some words in a moment from Andrew Armitage, the chairman of Cricket Finland, who can tell us how this came about and how we came about to be being broadcast across the world on this sunny evening here in Finland, as the next ball is driven through the offside up to extra cover, deep extra cover, and they're going to go through for 2. Should be 3 here though. It's quite a long boundary there. Possibility of an overthrow there. But Andrew Armitage, chairman of Cricket Finland, it's his responsibility. The first cricket of the summer in Europe, coming from Finland of all places. You'd never have seen that coming, Andy, would you, a few months ago?
I wouldn't have seen it coming around about a week ago, if I'm honest.
Well, let's rewind and say I wouldn't have seen it coming a couple of days ago, to be honest. We're just explaining as this next ball is delivered down the leg side and is given a wide. I mentioned to those watching and listening about this fantastic facility that Finland are very lucky to have here in Kerava, something that a lot of larger nations around Europe would be very grateful for. All is bowled. First wicket then is gone. Played all across that one, he did. And is that Qureshi who's gone? Bit of a sweep across the line, to be honest. And it didn't take much to get past that front leg, shall we say, in that situation. So first wicket down, Helsinki in the third over, 18 for 1. Back to this story of the Kerava National Cricket Ground, opened 2014?
Now 2014 was the clubhouse actually, Richard, so we really started planning with the local municipality on converting this from an old farmer's field back in 2007-8 with the first discussions when the wheat and the weeds and everything else that was growing here was approximately about 3 feet high when we first came down here. So it was, as you can well imagine, it was a 3 feet high field full of weed, and well, you can see today. So the initial plan, as the Finnish authorities, the local municipality here, didn't have a clue about what we were talking about. This strange thing's called cricket, and I guess we painted such a positive vision of the future for them that this didn't end up being a shopping centre or something else, and here we are today with this fantastic cricket facility.
5.5 million is the population of Finland, so we're a very small country. But we support how many teams now, is it?
We have, if we talk about clubs overall, so there's some of the teams that are more set than others. We're above the 30 mark, 32 I think is the correct statistic, and we'd go from here down the south, Greater Helsinki region, all the way up to above the what do we call it? Not the North Pole, but the Arctic Circle. Thank you, Richard. Lived too long in Finland, can't think of my English any longer. Arctic Circle with 2 clubs up in Oulu, and obviously looking to develop cricket across the country. That's our long-term vision, of course, to have more and more local Finns, both children, adults, and when we say adults, women as well as men, of course. So that's the master plan, and as everybody knows, those master plans don't take place if you haven't got a proper facility for that purpose, and that has been the vision of developing this ground since the start. So this is looking at everything from grassroots beginners cricket all the way up to national sides and T20 internationals, which we hosted which seems such a long time ago, before Corona, last August with Spain coming here. So yeah, I think that's the potted history of the last 12 or whatever years that is.
Yeah, rather surprising to some, maybe, up here in the cold and frozen north that we managed to play. But we should put this right. The summers here can be pretty decent. The average temperature in Finland is higher than in the UK, I'm told.
I was going to say, so I'm told as well. And if I remember 30-something years ago, when I used to live in Manchester, where I'm originally from, I would say that our summers here are far better than they ever were in Manchester. But if you happen to be from the southern part of England, then you'd probably say, well, that's not saying all that much. But I guess it gives context to the background of summers here in Finland.
Just a reminder, Helsinki Cricket Club the team batting in the dark blue, the double champions from last season. Vantaa CC are the opponents tonight, and for those who are perhaps not too familiar with the geography of Finland, in fact there's quite a few that probably couldn't even name Finland's second city, to be honest with you, but Vantaa, am I right, is it the second or third? Well, correct me, because I should explain the Helsinki metropolitan area, what we call this conurbation around Helsinki, is made up of Helsinki city, Espoo and Vantaa, and I'm not quite sure which one is ranked as second city, but anyway, it gives you an idea that Vantaa are local, even though they're not quite Helsinki. Helsinki metropolitan area, but of course that is one of the strengths in a way, and I suppose it's also seen as a weakness in some respects, but here in Finland everything is very much concentrated in the southern coastal region around Helsinki and across to the west to Turku and a little bit further up towards Tampere. So for the purposes of running, what is it, we've got 5 leagues running this season, maybe 5, 6, 7, can't remember. The travelling is not too much of an issue for the teams, so there are some logistical advantages to it, despite the small population, and a lot of industry or types of industry that bring a lot of people who are interested in cricket, perhaps more so than people would think.
Absolutely, I think since early days, the association was founded back in '99, so we had our 20th anniversary last year, and I think we've for at least the last 15 years or so we've had anything between 20 different nationalities on the player books. So we've certainly got a massive array of nationalities from lots of well-known cricket countries and perhaps not so many well-known cricket countries. And obviously, then from the Finnish cricket development perspective, then that's one of the biggest areas for us to actually continue to push further. So we've got more and more Finns playing the game as well. So hence we've got all of the different formats. Obviously, Corona has had a huge impact on cricket all around the world, and with Finland being one of the countries that actually is starting to play cricket again this summer. So it's obviously we've had to adjust our schedule, and I know a lot of people from a lot of countries that are looking like not getting any cricket this summer. So I think we sort of look at this as being grateful for the fact that we've got some cricket starting today. Quite an amazing effort for us to actually be here, considering that the government clearance was in terms of all of their specific guidelines as to what it meant in practice to start on June the 1st, that we only had those 10 days ago. So
to the 5th over then, just to update you, another boundary for Helsinki. That takes them on to 30 for 1. And we'll talk a little bit more over the coming over the rest of the match in the coming weeks about cricket in Finland, but it might be worth just at this juncture for anybody that is watching and listening to us online this evening, that we'd be delighted to hear from you in any shape or form, whether you can get in touch with us via social media. So you're going to give us all the appropriate social media addresses now, aren't you, Andrew?
I shall come back to you on that one then shortly, Richard. Thank you very much.
But Cricket Finland, go search for it online. I'm sure you'll find us, and let us know if you're watching, what you're thinking, and indeed if you are within Finland itself. If you want to know more about playing, and there's a super shot, a full toss, clubbed through the onside, but with control. No fielder out on the boundary. They're still in the first power play, of course, for the first 6 overs, so only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring maximum. Takes Helsinki on to 34 for 1 into the 5th over. So yeah, you let us know through the ECN website as well if you're watching this, no doubt through that and on the app. Just get in touch with us and let us know your thoughts on being able to watch some cricket in Europe for the first time this season. And we'll be bringing you action from the Finnish leagues tomorrow and on Wednesday evening, and then at the weekend we have some more T20 matches plus some T10 matches, 5 of those on the Sunday, which is a new competition for Finland this year, and then there'll be 3 more T20s in the T20 Premier League next week. Slight delay here. I think we've got a lost ball, have we? Which is a common problem here at Kerava. If you can see on the what is the cover boundary to the right of the right-handed batsman, the white fencing. It does its job, but up to a point. And behind there is a gully, a nice ditch, which is home to probably several thousand old cricket balls. But the playing outfield is in terrific condition, if you can ignore a few dandelions growing here and there. But a lot of the outfield was relayed before this season got underway, taking advantage of what was some quite mild spring weather. Although having said that, we were under snow a month ago here in Finland, so it just tells you how things quickly can change. So 34 for 1 then in the fifth over. Helsinki Cricket Club, who won the toss and decided to bat. Going along at a rate which would give them a projected score at this rate of about 173, which would be very competitive in the context of things. It's quite a big outfield, and despite it being very lush and very grassy, it's quite slow outfield. Fairly long boundaries. As this is an attempt to clear one of them straight, and it looks like he's probably done it excellently. Yeah. Over the rope it sails for 6. That's the first maximum of the evening. And a terrific shot from Mangal, who moves on to 22 with that. And he's going along at a nice little lick, a strike rate of 170 or thereabouts. To the first maximum of the evening then. And a terrific straight hit. And having played on this strip a good number of times, it is a very straight and true artificial strip, so doesn't appear to be an awful lot of deviation generally off the pitch. As this one ties him up a little bit, there's an appeal. It looks to be going well over though, and the umpire turns it down. End of the fifth over. 40 for 1 then, Helsinki. Even I can work out that's a going run rate of 8 and over. Partnership for these two, Mangal and Zamal, at 22. 15 overs remaining, which means just 1 over remaining of the power play. So first bowling change for Vantaa at the end of the fifth over into the sixth. This is Ranuka, the captain. Number 69 on his back. Just bringing in the man from long off. As I squint around the corner, the man drops out on deep onto the mid-wicket boundary. So they've got a cover boundary rider and a man out on the mid-wicket boundary for Ranuka. 1 more over left of the power play. Kamal is going to be the man facing, who's currently on 6. And he's bowled. He'll stay on 6. Terrific delivery. A Yorker. He sort of leant over that one a little bit. And that's the second wicket down for Helsinki. And a good start for the captain with the ball then. So Aniketh. Pustai is going to be the new man into bat. 40 for 2 then Helsinki in the 6th over. And a great start for Ranuka. First delivery. Taking a wicket. Aniketh Bustai, national team player, will be the one to face. We'll talk more a little bit with Andrew Armitage about the Finnish national cricket team as well, because as I mentioned earlier, they've now got official international T20 status after a 3-match tournament with Spain last year, and he faces his first delivery. Comes down the wicket a little bit but defends solidly, and as I said, mentioned earlier, there were big plans for this 8-team tournament for the European ICC T20 qualifying rounds, as he gets off the mark with a quick single. It's a short fine leg. There's no real danger in the end, but he had to get his skates on. But that unfortunately has been postponed, as much of the cricket around the world and Europe has done. But of course we've been very lucky here in Finland that we haven't quite had the restrictions on movement that many other countries have, as the next ball is turned for 4, backward square leg, and the target moves on 4 more.
छोड़ने के चक्कर में ना बैट रोक भी देता ना ऐसे सीधा।
A warm welcome back to Kerava National Cricket Ground in Finland for the first cricket of the summer here in Finland and indeed across Europe. There was due to be some cricket action in Sweden this weekend, but I understand that was curtailed at the last moment. So you have the pleasure of joining us in the sunny northern climes of Finland for this match between Helsinki Cricket Club and Vantaa Cricket Club. We're now 6 overs down, the power play has ended, 51 for 2. Helsinki are the batting side, having won the toss and decided to bat as they pick up another 2 up to extra cover. Helsinki Cricket Club, the reigning Finnish T20 Premier League champions. Which I shouldn't keep repeating because it was my team that got beaten in the final last year. But hey ho, so the next ball is just turned into the onside defensively. Mangal is on 32, he's the non-striker. Aniketh Pustai, who's a national team player for Finland, is the man on strike, currently on 3, facing the spin of Nipuna. You'll forgive me when I look down at my scorecard and see a host of names. Sometimes they go by other given names, as the next one is another good delivery, no run. He runs here for Pustai, possibly 2. He's going to have to hurry back for the second. If it's a decent throw, it was slightly wild though in the end, so he got back comfortably. Another dot ball. Struggling just to time it at the moment and get it out of the circle. A decent first over there from Nipuna. And it'll be Mangal back on strike, who's on 32. Khalid Mangal. Another change of bowling for Vantaa. This will be Hamza Washa Mohammed. Again, another slow variation in these middling overs, making the batsman do the work, put the pace on the ball. And the one thing that this artificial pitch gets, as a lot of them do, is actually a fair bit of bounce, as this one is clubbed over the head of cover to the cover boundary. They go through for a single. So it's quite a useful wicket to bowl slowly on, because you do get bounce as well as a bit of natural turn off the strip. There's big boundaries here, so you've got to make the ball do the work a lot of the time. That one's pushed through a little bit quicker. Attempted cut misses the bat and the wicket keeper, and there's no run. That'll be called a wide. Pustai just struggling a little bit here to get himself into gear. As he pushes to that one, and they go through for a quick single. It was a decent throw. It seemed to be from here. Not quite sure what the wicketkeeper was attempting to do with that. But, yeah, the suggestion is that he tried to parry it onto the stumps. Misfield out in the deep at long on. They go 3 for 2. Mangal's pushing on here. He's got a strike rate nearing 200 now. 184. 35 not out off 19 balls. Couple of sixes and 2 fours. 3 fours in that. And he picks up another couple. A bit of a wobbly start then for Helsinki, but they seem to have bedded in a little bit, and they're on track for a decent score if they can keep this rate going. It's 62 for 2 in the 8th. Perhaps would have expected a little bit more. But first game of the season as well, don't forget, we're all a little bit rusty in many respects. End of the over. 8 overs gone. 62 for 2 Helsinki against Vantaa here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground. Nippona continuing then for Vantaa. Some hesitation between the batsmen. That's Mangal picking up a single. 38 he moves on to. Nippona in again, right arm over. That one just seemed to die a little bit on the batsman as he jammed his bat down on it. No run. End of another over then. 9 overs gone. Helsinki Cricket Club. 66 for 2 after 9 overs. A reminder, you're watching the Finnish Premier League T20 competition, the first match of that competition this season. And there's been quite a lot of effort to try and squeeze in all the due competitions here in Finland, having lost the whole of May because of the restrictions which have been eased here in Finland, but nonetheless there are still some restrictions in place, but it is allowing cricket to go ahead, which we're very grateful for. As Washa Mohammed continues into his second over now. Big swing by Mangal. He didn't connect with that. 38 he is. And we should point out that we're very lucky to have more than the one fixed camera here at Kerava today and throughout the week. But all matches staged here at Kerava are carried live on YouTube if you're ever interested in following any of the matches in the Finnish leagues. So all matches played here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground are streamed on YouTube, albeit through a fixed camera, as a wide is called. But we're very lucky with our broadcast partners to have a few extra shots of the ground that can show it in its glory rather than just the strip, as this next one is a wicket and a terrific catch in the end. They put a couple down, Vantaa, and finally they've clung on to one, and that is the end. Well, Manosh was the fielder. That's the end of Pushdai. He didn't really get going, in all fairness, this evening. Looking for the big hit down the ground. Caught it long off. And the third Helsinki wicket falls. And the score on 68 for 3. Yeah, so if you were with us listening earlier, you might have heard Andrew Armitage, the chairman of Cricket Finland, talking about the opening in 2014 of the clubhouse here. Because having the playing field is one thing, but the clubhouse is, the pavilion, we should say, is a terrific structure with very nice changing rooms, a nice little lounge and bar and dining area. There's a little terrace for barbecuing in the summer, so it's a very pleasant place to be if you enjoy your cricket in Finland. Very fortunate indeed to have these facilities, and another, we should mention, full-time cricket facility in the city of Vantaa, which was due to host one of the ICC T20 qualifying matches that I mentioned has been postponed, but that is a grass outfield pitch with another permanent artificial strip. A lot of work's been done on that venue in Tikkurila in Vantaa to get that ready for international matches. So we're quite lucky to boast 2 properly functioning grass outfield cricket grounds. And we also were lucky this week to announce the opening up of a full-time indoor practice facility at a sporting centre about 90 kilometres north of Helsinki, which will be used throughout the winter by clubs and by the national team alike, and indeed anyone else who wishes to use it. So if this is all a bit of a surprise to me when I first arrived in Finland, it might be to many others as well, as another boundary takes Helsinki into the 70s now. 73 for 3 at the halfway stage, 10 overs gone. And projected score at this run rate, 159 for Helsinki, which you think they'd be happy with. They're quite a strong bowling unit. Let's see if they get there. So this is the Finnish T20 Premier League from the Kerava National Cricket Ground in Finland, and you'll be watching this on ECN.cricket or via their YouTube channel. So do leave us any comments on the channel if you're enjoying what you're seeing, and thankful to see some cricket at long last somewhere in Europe, even if it is in the northernmost reaches of the continent. The two teams playing here today, Helsinki Cricket Club and Vantaa Cricket Club. Helsinki having won the toss and decided to bat 75 for 3 now in the 11th over. Nipuna, the bowler, to Mangal, who's into the 40s now. 41 he is, not out. He's played a decent innings here, mixing up some lusty blows with some decent running and finding the field. It takes a while, of course, first game of the season, to get back into it. Although it's worth saying that a lot of these players have been playing in the indoor leagues that the Finnish Cricket Association run here in Finland, which is quite different, as you'd imagine. A lot of it on the cage cricket. It used to be on the cage cricket concept, but this year was a 10-over format played in a indoor football structure, I would call it. If you haven't seen them here, we have these blow-up inflatable structures that are the size of a football pitch with some artificial grass on, which allows people to do silly things like cricket in the height of the Finnish winter, because you've got to do something in the height of the Finnish winter, that's for sure. And with restrictions being eased in the last few weeks on training, facilities are starting to open here in Finland, hence the reason we have cricket going on now. As this next ball is pushed into the offside, they take a single. They could go back for a second because of a misfield, but the striker overran his ground. No chance of that. 78 for 3 in the 12th. Slinging action off a very short run from Varsha Mohammed, causing a few problems just with that bounce I was mentioning that you get off this artificial strip, and it tends to rush on a little bit as well. That one's a slower delivery, but it's nicely clipped. Oh, and the man coming in from long on has spilt it again, I'm afraid. That's the third catch gone down for Vantaa this evening. It was a decent hit, but it was a fairly straightforward catch. The man coming in off the boundary, and it went straight through the hands, so another let off. Mangal moves to 44. His strike rate's dropped now down to around 150 from somewhere close to 200 a little bit earlier. That's very wide and stretched to reach by the batsman, but he's going to pick up 2. There's a vacant area at short third man. But it's quite a big ground here. Some of the grounds that cricket is played in Finland are rather smaller. This has got decent dimensions, so a lot of space out there, if, albeit the outfield is a little bit slow at times. This one is an identical shot to the one that was dropped a few balls ago, and this time the same fielder running in off the boundary has taken the catch, and that is the end then of the batsman, who just pushed his luck once too often there. Okay, and Ursan Tavernier, the man who took the catch there, having spilt one a few before. I was going to remind you who the batsman out there was, and it was Zakilan Kamal, who went for 6. Was it 8? Sorry, some confusion in the scorer's hut here. But importantly for Helsinki, Mangal is still there. And 44. New batsman we're waiting for to reach the middle for Helsinki. A slow changeover. There's Arjunan. Akhil Arjunan, known as Kashi. This will be called a wide. Mangle, the man on face now. Batsman having crossed after the caught wicket. Another big swing and another bowled. So 2 wickets in the over then. And Vantaa starting to pull this back a bit. And that is the end of the danger man. Mangal has gone for 44. Helsinki in a little bit of trouble now. 82 for 5. We're into the 12th, or just end of the 12th over. And having got off at a decent rate, those 5 wickets now might make life a little easier for the remaining 8 or so overs. Although they do bat quite a way down, Helsinki. I'll wait to find out the incoming batsman now, Qureshi. So 2 batsmen on naught. Got to start again for Helsinki. The pressure was building. A bit of a wild swipe there. I believe this is Qureshi. Abdul Wahad Qureshi, brother of Abdul Ahad Qureshi. Who's the new batsman? No number on his back, so it's not helping us identify them. Transferred from another club during the off-season. Hence, I'm told, the reason for no numbers. I was foolish enough to mention at 5 to 7 on a sunny early summer evening in Finland, barbecuing facilities here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground. Are those interested from outside the country as to what Finns put on their barbecue? Sausages is the general answer. But the answer is to come along and find out yourself, I think, if you're interested. As we go into now to the 13th over, and the batsman Arjunan is facing on 0. That was his first delivery. Lianega is the bowler. Into his first over of the evening. Tall, but a short run. Shorter ball, just defended to the keeper. No run, and Helsinki got work to do here to bring this rate back. They were going at a rate earlier where the projected score was something in the 170, 180 region. At this rate now, it's dropped to around 140, which is defendable, but any less, then it might start to get a little jittery as the next delivery is just pushed into the onside for no run. So again, a careful start from these two, having to rebuild for Helsinki. Lianega, who's tall, gets quite a bit of bounce. Might be useful in these middle overs. Five to 7, Finnish local time. A warm welcome to you wherever you're listening. Around Europe or indeed around the world. The only cricket going on in Europe right now. 4 dot balls, so a decent first over this for Lianega. At a crucial time, Vantaa could really bring it back into their favour now, as this one, unfortunately, is missed by the keeper, and that's going to run away for byes. and probably 4 of them. And not quite 4, but frustration nonetheless, because that relieved some pressure after what was a very good over. Nonetheless, going for a couple won't cause them too much pain as he comes in for the final delivery of this over. And again, that's just outside the off stump. Attempted chop down through the offside, but no run. End of the over. Terrific over then. 13 gone. 84 for 5. Helsinki Cricket Club batting first here, having won the toss. And I would say the last over or two has really brought this game back in the favour of Vantaa. One would perhaps have expected Helsinki to have accelerated in these middle overs, but the opposite is happening right now. And there's 2 batsmen who have yet to score at the crease still. The only runs coming from that previous over, the 2 byes past the keeper. I knew over then. Slower delivery from that whippy action. From Madura Milan, who's now into his 3rd over, having on for 15 so far. Slower out the back of the hand delivery that time, it seemed. Pushed into the onside, just missed by the fielder in the ring, and they only go through for a single. So I think with the return of this bowler, I think Vantaa are looking to seize their opportunity a bit, knowing that Helsinki on the ropes a little bit at the moment, having had their run rate slowed considerably. Helsinki, and 14 overs gone. Right, 15th over then. Lahiru is the bowler. Man on strike, Arjunan now is on 5.
No, there is water.
And they're going to have to accelerate now a little bit, Helsinki, if they want to get around a competitive total for Vantaa to chase in the second innings of this T20 Premier League, Finnish Premier League match, the first of the season, and the first of several to be shown on the ECN network over the coming week or so, and on YouTube via the appropriate channels. And tomorrow we have SKK, whose home here is here in Kerava, against Helsinki Gymkhana, I believe, tomorrow. And then Empire Cricket Club on Wednesday will be facing Bengal Tigers. The third T20 of this week. And the weather promises to be dry, so we should see some action in all of the matches. I wouldn't say it was baking, but at least it's warm for Finland, at least. I've even taken my jumper off. That's because I'm sat in a warm scorer's hut. And this looks like runs, and this could be a boundary. There is a man coming in off the long on rope, which I didn't pick up for a second in the sun out there. With a couple of runs though to Helsinki, and it looks like they've decided now to get on with it a bit, and they need to, I think, in this 15th over. Still yet to reach 100. Shorter ball, wide, and called wide. Now, this is an aggressive shot, but it's out to that man who's dropped one, caught one, and fielded generally well anyway. It's just a single, shorter delivery, but the intent is there, isn't it? 15 overs gone, 97 for 5. 5 left then for Helsinki to post their target. Current run rate would get them to around 135, which is probably below par, certainly from what they expected after the first 8 or so overs. But a lot can change in T20, of course. A good couple of overs will push that back up again. Delay in the proceedings now as the batsman feels he needs to change his bat. Right, so Hamza is the bowler returning into his 4th and final over now. He's done well so far, 3 for 19. As this first delivery is aggressively met by the batsman, but not enough on it, and it's a dot ball. But you can see Helsinki's intentions now. They need to clear the rope a few times. This one might trouble the point cover boundary fielder, but only for a single. Again, the ball slowing up in the outfield a little bit. It's been dry here, but the grass is fairly long. Single off Hamza means he's gone for exactly a single of every delivery in this spell. The next one is just a single. Looking to see if the umpire's going to call leg by, but no. But it's been a very economical and persistent and fruitful spell. This from Vasir Mohammed. This one he's appealing for, but the umpire's not given it, and there's almost a mix-up in the middle as well. So it's all getting a little frantic towards the end. Now, Vasir Mohammed, though, coming to the end of his spell at 3 for 22. Has really done a job for his team tonight. Last delivery of that spell. Then this one again is an appeal. Umpire's hand goes up, but I need to put, I think, a coin in the pocket. So no positive outcome for the appeal, but a very positive spell then from Washa Mohammed. So into the 17th over then. Helsinki have reached three figures, 100 for 5. Some clarification needed over the score. That may well be amended in just a moment, as this is a full toss which is hit way up in the air. Is there a fielder under it? There's 3 converging on it, and it beats them all, I'm afraid. Falling short. They pick up 2 vital runs, Helsinki. A little delay here. The umpires are just discussing something. There's a slight discrepancy in the scoring here, I think. The scorecard on the screen that you're looking at should be correct, though. But I think the umpire's just needing to check this. See, that's put the cat among the pigeons, you see, reaching 100. But the bottom line is that Helsinki have got to fight their way out of trouble a little bit now in the last over or two. Having earlier looked like they were going to be on for a score around about the 180 mark. That's dropped considerably now. So 107 for 5 as we continue. This one's down the leg side and call a wide. And just to give you Washa Mohammed's figures from his spell, which he finished in the last over, which was very impressive indeed. 4 overs, 3 for 22. Another wide called. This will help the Helsinki cause. Nipuna, he's only gone for 23 in his 3.5 overs so far. Not picked up a wicket, but just getting a little bit expensive with some of his wides here as the next delivery's turned into the onside for a single. But his boundaries, Helsinki really want to deal in now. 5 down. $17 overs gone then. So 17 overs gone, 117 for 5, the Helsinki total so far, 3 overs left. And having got off to a fairly steady start, things have been pulled back somewhat by what's been an excellent Vantaa bowling performance. Korowega is the batsman now. This has gone miles in the air. There is a fielder under it and takes the catch just inches inside the rope. So they're hanging on to the catches more, Vantaa, as well, towards the culmination of this innings, unlike the earlier stages. And that's helping their cause no end. 6th wicket then goes down. Abdul Wahab Qureshi, the man who's departing. And that brings to the crease Fahim Nelacherry. He's off the mark immediately. Oh, he's not on strike, of course, having crossed. But they pick up 2 needed runs, Helsinki. On a bright evening here in Kerava. The second innings during Vantaa's reply. We'll talk some more with Andrew Armitage, the chairman of Cricket Finland, about cricket here and across Europe at the moment. Has this gone miles up in the air? The keeper should be interested in this. There are a couple others under it though, and it's beaten them all again. That's the second time that's happened this evening. It looked from the off that was a long way for the keeper to have to go, but he might have called for it. In the end, the batsmen are safe. Go through for 2. That'll be 119 for 6 then. With the club into the onside, and it's just a single. Okay, we could have a maximum here. Yes, that's gone into the flats, I think. Away to our right as we look. It's evaded all the safety netting, designed to prevent those balls cannoning into somebody's balcony. And he's finally got hold of that one, and that was a much needed maximum for Helsinki.
बैग में पड़ा हुआ है, निकाल ले बैग में से ना वो पड़ा हुआ।
Well, we have a retrieved ball finally, having been dispatched past the safety net and towards the apartments on the behind long on. As the next delivery after the resumption just goes for a single down to backward point. 128 for 6, 129 for 6. Two to come then in this penultimate over. A couple of wides in there as well, so it seems to be going on a little longer than normal. And having bowled very tidily earlier on, this has just got a little ragged for Vantaa at a time when they needed to keep the pressure on. But nonetheless, at 139 for 6, this one's gone big. Is it up in the air, under the fielder, and caught second attempt. Two hands parrying it into the left hand, and another good catch taken into the sun. After some shaky catching to start with, Vantaa have done well in the field towards the end. And another wicket falls, the 7th for Helsinki. Managed the catcher there. That's his second catch, I think, of the innings. Fielding in that long on position. So the batsman departing is Nelan Cherry. The new batsman Adnan Saeed comes in, and he's probably got one set of instructions and one set of instructions only, with a handful of balls to come. So here he is facing his delivery, squeezed into the offside. He'll go through for two quick. Oh, it could be a run out. I think he's probably given. He is. It looked out from here. So 2 wickets in 2 balls then. And Saeed doesn't hang around for long. Set of instructions or not. Nipuna, the fielder there. Sadiqi then, the new batsman, and he'll be carrying that same set of instructions, I think. Helmetless out there. First delivery, struck on the pad, going for a heave over the line, and he's given out. Is that 3 and 3, I believe? Well, certainly 3 in. Oh, we had a wide in between, didn't we? There's a moment for excitement there. Wouldn't of course counted as a hat-trick, because one of them was a run out. Nonetheless, we'll take that. Inject a bit of excitement into the end of the innings, but Helsinki really faltering here now. 139 for 9. And there's a danger here, they're not going to see out the full 20. Having decided to bat first and post a total for their opponents Vantaa Cricket Club this evening. But that's all you've got to do now, at least see out the 20. Wide delivery, that's a bonus for Helsinki. Karawega is the bowler, Bhatia on strike, 140 for 9. Set off for a quick single. There's trouble if this hits, and it doesn't. But that's the risk you've got to take at this stage. I think even with only one wicket left, they wanted to get themselves up around the mid 140 mark. The 150 appears to have gone out the window unless we get a few decent hits now. This could be one of them, although I think it's going to reach the fielder at backward point. It does. They're going to race back. No, they're not going to race back for a second. Non-striker is sent scurrying back. It's probably wise. Two balls left in this Helsinki innings. A nice little dink of a shot though. That's found a big vacant area at third man, and they could push for 3 here if they go about it. The striker had turned in time, non-striker rather, but the man at the striking end a little more reluctant to come back for the third, and perhaps wise as we approach the final delivery then of the Helsinki innings. And it's Bhatia on strike. He clubs that into the onside. And it just dribbles out to the mid-wicket fielder. They take a single, and they've seen out the 20 overs, which is something Helsinki were in danger of not doing an over or two ago. 145 for 9 is their total after 20 overs. Target then 146 for Vantaa to chase down in this first Finnish Premier League T20 match of the season. And no doubt the first T20 match of the European season. And you'll hopefully stay with us and join us to see the Vantaa reply in a few moments' time.
ये हो गया
हाँ जी
Thank you, legend. Meet Adu.
करनी है पैर ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਯਾਰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਅਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਪਤਾ ਫੋਨ ਡਿਸਟਰਬ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਡਿਸਟਰਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ यार किट लिया तो यार तेरी प्रैक्टिस करा देते
ये ले लो
किसके पास है दे 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 खुद का बागी सॉरी बट का बागी बट का Boy, how are you? Yes.
किसकी ब्लैक वाली धोनी के ले ले धोनी के सर से उतार ले
ये लो इस पे नजर नहीं आ रहा लेकिन बहुत वो है
चल ये वाली ले लेते
हाँ ये सही है इधर थोड़ी है
धोनी धोनी सर कैप कैप
And a welcome back to the Kerava National Cricket Ground here in Kerava, Finland, for the Vantaa CC reply to Helsinki's 145 for 9. 146 then the target. Helsinki having won the toss and decided to bat. Vantaa about to get underway, and we'll be talking in a moment or two a little bit more about cricket in Finland, in particular the national side. And the national team coach is with us here for a little while. Caps are being doffed in the box, I might say. And we're underway, and we're opening up with a little bit of a slow stuff from Arjunan, Tavernier and Jayasinghe, the batsman for Vantaa. Oi, there's a chance. Is very close, caught and bowled there. Ball sticking in the pitch a little as the batsman pushed forward and just gave it a little bit of air. So Tavernier on strike. 146 the target for Vantaa, and it's a good time to introduce Matt Jenkinson, who is the national team coach for the Finnish national side. We'll talk to him a little bit more about the development of cricket and how the national side have been going as this reply gets underway. Matt, it's a warm welcome to you on what's a rather nice evening. First of all, because we're watching cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be back. Thank you very much for having me.
We've mentioned on this broadcast a little bit earlier about the disappointment of having the ICC European T20 qualifiers postponed as the next delivery is hoisted out to the deep mid-wicket boundary, where it's just dropped by the fielder out there. It didn't seem like it was going to carry, then it did, and unfortunately spilt it down by his ankles. That was Nell and Cherry out there, so they're off the mark. Vantaa in chase of 146. So that disappointment of losing this ICC qualifying tournament that Finland was very proud to be hosting at the end of June because of all the restrictions imposed in travel because of the pandemic and stuff. And Matt, and you spent months preparing for that 8-team tournament, welcoming 7 teams from around the continent to play in that tournament. It's slightly tapered or tempered by the fact that we've got some cricket, but nonetheless disappointing for quite a lot of players and yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a big, huge disappointment, but something we're not in control of. So, you know, we stay positive, and you know, we're out here and we're playing. So, you know, from where it was, you know, and how it's been, that you know, we're pretty fortunate. So, you know, it's good that we're actually playing.
I also mentioned earlier on the broadcast last year's 3-match series against Spain, which was held here at the Kerava National Cricket Ground. The first time, I believe, that the T20 accredited international status went to a game involving Finland. I don't know about you, but being an expat here in Finland, it still amazes me every time I look out and see cricket being played at a venue like this in Finland.
Yeah, incredible. You know, I've been living in England for 15 years and 2 years here now in Finland, and you know, you come here and you know, it just takes me back to being in England or Australia. You know, it's a pretty fantastic ground. You know, clubhouse facilities now improving, you know, all the time. So you know, it's tremendous what Cricket Finland have done, and you know, it's a pleasure to now be involved.
On the subject of European cricket, and we're talking about the disappointment, for example, for Helsinki missing out on the European Cricket League, having qualified by winning the T20 tournament Premier League here last season, and talking about those teams that were due to come, the likes of Germany, Luxembourg, Greece, I believe, and several others. There is this interest now, renewed interest in cricket in Europe, thanks to what's being shown on the European Cricket Network. Where are Finland, do you think, in comparison to some of the nations? Obviously the stronger ones like Denmark, which you might put in that sort of second tier of cricket-playing nations, are perhaps a little bit further ahead. Germany have come on in leaps and bounds in the last few years. So where are Finland, do you think, now, Matt?
Based on what I've seen so far, so my involvement so far with the national team started when they had a little series against Spain last summer. So from then it's basically, you know, the games that I've been able to watch on YouTube, I guess, and sort of trying to gauge and have a look at, you know, who the opposition people we're going to be playing at, and sort of, you know, getting a feel for it. So until we get playing, and you know, with the hiccup we've had with training and things like that, so you know, it's difficult for me to sort of say at the moment where, you know, where the guys are. I'm still getting to know the guys, which is why I'm here tonight. A few guys in the squad, and you know, I haven't you know, watched many live games here, so you know, that's sort of my reason being down, you know, coming down here tonight. So not sure yet, but
the fact that there is a national team here, I mean, that in itself again is quite something. And you know, we have a long-term project, I know, at Cricket Finland, to get the next generation involved. You know, you have a son, I have a son, for example, that starting to grow up in Finland, and next week this fantastic facility here will be hosting a summer camp for kids. So it's about the interest, isn't it? It's about capitalising on these opportunities we've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw from the series against Spain, just the following on YouTube was, you know, quite an amazing thing. So, you know, cricket is starting to take off here, and it's onwards and upwards. It's terrific.
And as also mentioned earlier, if you weren't with us, this is not the only facility we have. I mean, we're very grateful to have it, but we have another one in Tikkurila in Vantaa, there's going to be a lot of work done to bring that up to standard as well. So for a country of 5.5 million people on the northern fringes of Europe, we're not doing too badly.
No, it's very good.
Right, Matt, well, we wish you all the very best with your position going forward if you ever get to take these chaps to a tournament. But if anyone's interested in playing cricket in Finland or following, Cricket Finland is the portal to go to. And you can also follow the rest of the action in this T20 Premier League and some of the T10 matches over the weekend on the ECN network. Matt Jenkinson, the national cricket coach, thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
And it is a pleasure to be here as we look at the Vantaa reply, which is at 9 for no wicket now in the second over. Replying to Helsinki's 145 for 9, so the target of 146. As Matt was saying, a couple of players out on the field there within his sights for the national team selection. And 2 more matches coming up this week featuring national team players, so it'll give you an idea perhaps of the standards you're watching, which can only improve the more cricket is played and the greater the infrastructure. As we watch another wide delivered to take the Vantaa reply on to 12 without loss in the second over. They've got off to a little quicker start than Helsinki, who, just to remind you, won the toss and decided to bat. And if there's one thing about Kerava, beautiful playing ground it is, we should remind you that we're playing only from one end. That's generally because of the layout of the ground and the sun in the evenings, and the lengths of the boundary, but it becomes a little harder as the evening wears on and the sun drops, even in June in Finland. But give it a few weeks and the sun won't drop at all, so we'll all be happy then, as the next ball is just turned into the offside. They rush through for a quick single, pressure on the fielder. They get through safely, and a busy start from Vantaa as they approach the end of this second over, in chase of 146. Tavernier and Jai Singh, the batsman. Jai Singh, now the man on strike, who's on 5. And Qureshi, the bowler. Got a left-handed, right-handed opening combination for Vantaa. There's a big swing at that one. Let's go through to the keeper, end of the over. And 13 without loss then. After 2, don't forget, just if you want to get in touch with us here, either via the Cricket Finland accounts on social media, just do a little search for that, or you can contact us through the ECN network, which you'll be watching this on and listening to this on right now, either via the YouTube channel or their site or app. And it'd be nice to hear thoughts of people watching cricket for the first time in Europe, because it's been an uncertain situation We didn't think we'd see this a few months ago. This is a big shot up in the air. This could interest the fielder. He's running around to his right and takes it well. First wicket down then for Vantaa. Caught, trying to clear the ring, hitting straight. And the first Vantaa wicket perishes. And despite the sun setting, the fielder made good ground to catch that quite comfortably in the end. Sadiki was the man who took the catch, running around to his right. And Tavernier is the man out. I'll give you his score in just a second. I've seen a few shots like that this evening. It's first match of the season, don't forget, as we keep reminding everybody, the first match of the season anywhere. So there's undoubtedly a little bit of rustiness among the players. It takes them a while to get into it. Tavernier making 2 off 8 deliveries. So not quite as fluent as Jayasinghe. So, new batsman, Achiga, Muhammad Achiga, but Jayasinghe is the man on strike. He's on 5 at the moment, the short left-hander. We'll be talking to another representative from Cricket Finland in just a moment. Jayasinghe tries to cut that into the offside, but doesn't get enough on it, and it's straight to the fielder. Into the third over, 146 the target, remember, 13 for 1.
चलो तुसी कड़ी तक तो चलो मैं आया
Reply to the
चलो मैं आया
champions Helsinki's 145 for 9. As the bowler goes around the wicket this time. Big swing with the left-hander. Trying to fetch the ball from outside the off stump. It's a deep square leg fielder, and they trot through for a single. Bowler will revert to over the wicket for the right-hander now. Halfway through this third over. It's a nice shot, this one, from the new batsman. He's going to pick up a boundary for it as well. It's a terrific shot, really. Just wide of mid-off, deep extra cover. And the ball raced away down what little hill there is here. 2 fielders inside the circle, of course, in this power play. The first 6 overs. Chase for the long-off fielder, but too long. And that's a boundary for Vantaa. Takes him on to 18 for 1. 2 balls left in this over. Starting up with slower bowling, Vantaa in this innings, and this one looks like being out, but it's just lolloped up towards point, but the fielder, I think, was a little slow in reacting. Came off the edge, didn't get any purchase on it, and the chance goes missing. A single nonetheless, though, bringing the left-handed Jayasinghe back onto strike. He's 6 from 6. The field adjusts again for that left-hander. And the bowler around the wicket this time again. He's cut into the offside to point, no run. Throw comes back in. That should be the end of the over. 3 overs gone then. 19 for 1, Vantaa, in reply to 145 for 9. I said we'd have somebody else alongside us from Cricket Finland, just to give us a bit more of a insight into cricketing life in these northern climes. Maja Skeimans, who is the operations director here at Cricket Finland, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And you were just telling me, actually, off microphone, that not only is this the first cricket match we've got in Finland this summer, and most likely anywhere else in Europe, but this is also quite a landmark for Finland itself, because it's the first competitive team sport the country has seen in any sport.
Yeah, that's right. I actually saw that on Twitter just now, and somebody was commenting that finally the ball sport, team sport, has started this summer.
It's been a difficult period for everybody, of course, and you know the restrictions that are in place have been in place for a very good reason. We're slightly ahead of the game here in Finland. You know, talk about the pandemic itself and Finland, how it was affected, but things seem to have worked very well here in terms of the reaction to the health situation and indeed the restrictions placed on ball sports. So there's clearly some will from the government and happiness that these kind of things go on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the restrictions have been lowered a little bit now from today, so that we are able to run sports competition up to 50 people around with the social distancing and all that, you know, as we all know. And then you can even have an audience up to 500, which sadly doesn't yet happen here locally with cricket, but, you know, we're working on it.
Yeah, that would be nice at some point in the future. And we're just talking about the future because Maja has been very heavily involved here at Cricket Finland for a number of years, but most notably with the development of junior and women's cricket. You'll be helping to run the summer camp next year for the youngsters coming through. And we've mentioned that the long-term goal is to get a lot more of the Finnish native population involved, but a lot of people might not know that the national Finnish sport is a bat and ball sport of sorts. Pesäpallo, which is a form of baseball, Finnish baseball, where the ball is thrown in the air rather than at the batsman. So there's at least some talent here in terms of picking up a bat and hitting a ball, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And those Finnish baseballers who've managed to find their way to cricket have absolutely picked up their, especially batting and fielding, very quickly.
There was an initiative run here in conjunction with the national broadcaster where they have a week dedicated in the year to what we might call minority sports, and this year cricket was featured on national television, which is extraordinary to see cage cricket, indoor cage cricket being played in the dead of winter here in Finland. You were telling me that some of the Finnish baseball players came along for a sort of training session with the cricketers, and I was told they were hammering it down at 80 miles an hour, some of these guys.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a training session, it was actually a challenge game. So our it was almost like a national team small squad playing against a six-a-side cage cricket game against the Finnish baseball champions, and it was fantastic to watch it. The baseballers really liked it, and it was a good challenge.
I mean, you've been immersed in cricket for many years. Your son is a national team wicket-keeper, plays alongside me in my particular club, and you've had a long association with it. Is it? I mean, the popularity and the fact that we've got these facilities is fantastic, but there's still a long way to go to get the popularity and the awareness of the game around the general population. But it is happening, isn't it?
It's happening gradually,
especially among kids and women.
Well, we do have a schools program that we've been running for a number of years, and annually about 5,000 kids in different events and schools get to know a little bit about cricket. So hopefully we get the junior program into a level where clubs are ready to take on junior players as well, and so we can start a proper junior league. Currently we're running next week we have a summer camp, and so leagues run alongside that.
And it's all about the next generation, as we were saying. We just mentioned where we are, 22 for 1. Vantaa, 24 for 1 now in the 5th over. They're chasing 146. And you mentioned that we're getting the women involved. You know, we have the summer camp for the kids, and there's indoor training for the kids throughout the winter here, and also sessions for the women. The women, I noticed, tends to attract quite a lot of the native Finns. It seems to be very popular amongst them as well, doesn't it?
Well, recently we've had quite a good mixture from the sort of local Asian population and the local Finnish population, so it's been quite a nice mix. And again, this summer we'll be organising open events, inviting everyone who's interested to come and try, and then at the end of summer we'll have a big tournament day, so that information will be coming out soon on the Facebook.
We've got a wicket here, as attempted slog sweep really by Jayasinha, left-hander, has ended up with having his stumps clattered. That's the second wicket down for Vantaa, 24 for 2 into the 5th over now, and Jayasinha goes for, I'll tell you his score in a moment, goes for 7. So second wicket down, and he trudges off, carrying his helmet, as the sun disappears fittingly just for a moment or two. And just coming back to Maya, you are a teacher by trade here. I mean, we're very fortunate despite having a very small population, but kids generally as a nation are encouraged to be very active at a very young age, so whatever sport it might be, whether it's cricket or anything, there is a receptive audience here.
Yeah, and Finland, amongst other European countries, have been faced with the fact that children move or exercise less and less, and so they are not getting less active. So there was an active schools program started a few years ago, which has encouraged exactly what you're saying, and through that, sports are brought to schools during daytime, sort of having in the middle of day clubs and break time activities more and more. So it looks like it's gradually working.
You mentioned going into schools. The one thing I've noticed with the kids, even kids that have tried it for the first time, and this is, I think, is part of the great appeal of cricket. It can be a very complicated sport with trotting out facts and figures and statistics left, right and centre. But the bottom line is, I think the reason it's so appealing is that it's just literally picking up a bat and smacking a ball, whether it's plastic or what.
Absolutely. And with kids, of course, the best part is that because they don't know anything about it, then they just pick it up and play. And when people turn to me and say, well, I don't know the rules, I said, well, forget the rules, let's play. And that's how you get started.
And you've been travelling abroad with some of the younger women cricketers as well for them. Tell us a bit about that.
We've been having a sort of Nordic cooperation for the past 3 years, and through that we decided to work together towards getting more women to play cricket. And so we started a series of tournaments, and Norway was the first stop at the start of this year. So because our numbers are still quite small and we didn't quite get a full team for the indoor tournament, so I managed to get 3 girls to travel with me, and they played in a mixed Nordic team and enjoyed it and learned a lot, and it was fantastic altogether.
I should take this opportunity to promote Play Cricket Suomi, which is the little portal that you can visit if you're interested in getting youngsters involved or women involved in the game here in Finland. Just bring you up to date with the situation. In the end of the 5th over, 26 for 2 then Vantaa, 146 is the target. Maya Skamans is the guest at the moment alongside us, just telling us a little bit more about the grassroots game here in Finland. And apart from anything, we've mentioned this terrific facility we're very lucky to have here. I mean, for those that don't even play, it's just a lovely sport to come and watch on an evening like this, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think more and more people are actually finding this place. Kerava is a small town, about half an hour's drive from Helsinki, and when we first started here, not many people understood what's going on here, what's this field and what are these people playing. But nowadays, if you take a taxi from the Kerava Central Railway Station, then they know exactly where to take you if you ask for the cricket ground.
And it's great, as I say, because we're not, everything about Finland is, not everything, but a lot of it is centred around the Helsinki capital region. So, you know, Helsinki's a capital city with not a lot of space to spare for cricket pitches, but you don't have to travel far to be able to go and visit these. There are others, like in Vantaa, for example, the Tikkurila venue that we were talking about there. So, you know, it's a small small scale operation, but very well organised and very well attended most of the time. Maya, thank you for your time. It's lovely to put some meat on the bones of cricket. And as I say, get in touch with us via the European Cricket Network or Cricket Finland's various social media sites if you want to get involved. Okay, we'll bring you up to date then. 6th over, 27 for 2. And the two batsmen, Mahamada Achichige and Kaingala, forgive my pronunciations. Bhatia is the one bowling now for Helsinki. The quick single is taken. They've started to try and rotate the strike, Vantaa, quite well at this opening of the innings. Last over of the power play. Kaingala's the man on strike now on 2. And certainly favouring taking pace off the ball, Vantaa, which is never a bad thing. It didn't take long since the advent of T20 for teams to realise that taking pace off the ball can help enormously. A little bit of bounce given by this artificial wicket is always good. It could be a terrific effort there. It would have been a spectacular catch, diving to his right in the covers. He's put it down. I thought he had it for a moment. I think it was one of those where the fall after the dive perhaps dislodged it a little bit. There might even be some concern here as to whether or not he's hurt himself, but he's picked himself up and dusting himself down. He should be okay to carry on. Aniketh Pushtai that was. A terrific effort. It would have been a terrific catch, but the batsman survives. Only 2 down then. 29 Vantaa in this 6th over. As the slow bowling continues. Another similar shot. This one's gone much higher in the air. 2 fielders are under it. Again it evades them. Just goes beyond them. Pushtai again, I think one of those involved. No, not this time, but dicing with death in the covers there, the batsman, but they're getting away with it. End of the over. There's some umpires have called over, but we're counting 5 balls in the over here. Let's see what's on. They're going to continue. Bhatia wearing number 8 on his back. Will finish the over. He had called over, so it won't be Bhatia continuing, so we'll have 1 short for that particular over. As always with these things, you just hope that doesn't play a big role at the end of the day. Here we go then. The batsman moves to the offside to try and launch that one back to Helsinki. It doesn't connect, and there's no run. Vantaa persisting with the slow bowling options, which is paying dividends for them for now. Hit into the sun, that's always a good option, I think, on these evening matches. Which is lowish. As I say, a few weeks from now, it won't disappear at all in this part of the world. The next one, big swipe outside the off stump, no run. Although I will say that, in my experience, the big midsummer holiday, the longest day of the year, generally tends to, I think a couple of years ago, it was colder than Christmas Day here. So, I mean, I know I'm trying to sell Finland here, but just to tell you that there are the odd days when the wind whips in off the Arctic Circle, and I have played. The first time I played at this venue, I must say, a few years ago, it was 6 degrees in October. I've never been so cold playing cricket as this ball is driven. Someone's pointing out I've never played in Manchester, but that's true. Couple of runs picked up by Vantaa there. 33 for 2 in the 7th over. Going along steadily. I could do with a few more boundaries just to give a little bit of impetus now this power play is over. More fielders than the 2 permitted outside the ring allowed now. This one is a sweep, nice sweep down on one knee to backward square leg. And they pick up another single. But they're rotating the strike well, which is good. Arjunan continuing then. And Vantaa continuing to pick up the singles. End of the over. 7 gone. 35 for 2, Vantaa. Good time, I think, to bring back in the Cricket Finland chairman, just to, well, let him finish off his biscuit first, and then tell us a little bit more about the, that's his dinner, he says. A little bit more about the situation, as how we're coming to be broadcast to the world tonight. Andrew Armitage, chairman of Cricket Finland, and as Maya Skamans was just pointing out to us, not only the first cricket of the year in Finland and throughout Europe, but the first team sport action there is in Finland. It's been a challenging period, but there's none more relieved than you, despite the cancellation of this ICC tournament we were due to hold at the end of the year, end of the month.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately, everything that's gone on with COVID-19 has obviously then hit everybody in different ways, and yeah, it's been a massive challenge to get to where we are today. Obviously, notwithstanding the fact that then the production that you're seeing tonight was also relatively short notice. Let's put it that way, with Daniel and Roger and the guys back at ECN, and obviously with the relationship that we'd created back end of last year, and looking at ECL, which was supposed to be played during June for 2020, which Helsinki would have played in, which was then postponed to 21. So obviously the fact that we've got the opportunity to see some cricket somewhere in the world, and it's not only Europe, it's obviously most of the world, other than Vanuatu and maybe a couple of other places, then there's not a lot of cricket going on. So obviously it's an opportunity for us to not only be out there as Cricket Finland, but also then being out there as sort of developing the visibility of the game on a global level, which is ultimately what we're all about long term.
Well, we were talking with Maya about the development of junior cricket and the next generation of players, and of course one of the important things about the European Cricket League is that, you know, there is a requirement to be playing some not quite juniors but younger players, therefore helping grow the game in each country and the clubs that are playing it.
I think the background story behind that, Richard, is literally that in a lot of countries around the world, not just in Europe, a lot of countries, cricket is still a relatively young sport. I think we mentioned earlier that Cricket Finland had its 20th anniversary last year, and obviously 20 years in the history of cricket is you know, what's that, a day and a half, relatively speaking. So obviously we're still very young and looking at this in a very sort of long-term perspective, and obviously we want to grow the game as large as we possibly can, getting it out there to the masses, but that takes time. You know, the 5.5 million population of Finland, probably 5.4 million of them has either got no clue of cricket, or then the wrong idea that it's a 5-day game that ends in a draw and everybody runs around in white clothing. So I mean, you know, there's a lot of enlightenment to go out there, and a lot of information flow that needs to happen for people to actually understand what cricket this day and age is all about, and whether we're talking street cricket, or whether we're talking schools cricket in 15-hour games in the break, or whether we're talking 10-10, 20-20, or the 40-over formats that we play at adult level here in Finland.
Just to interrupt there, because there's a little bit of controversy out on the pitch. The ball was bowled, the batsman stepped away trying to cut it into the offside. It looked to me like the bails were disturbed, but I think the initial thought was that it was the keeper that had disturbed the bails. But the appeal was for bowled, and the umpires have given it. So we have a wicket, and it looks like Guy Ngala is the man gone. at 99. So given bowled, we think 40 for 3 in the 8th over. Interesting to see that again, given bowled by the umpires. It certainly looked on first view to me that the bowler had got the ball through the defences and had clipped the wickets. But anyway, that is the upshot of that. 3rd wicket down for Vantaa. So 8 overs gone then. Vantaa 40 for 3, chasing 146. 104 runs to win then off 72. Starting to, well, it will start to get tricky territory if they have another couple of slow overs, Vantaa, but it could be an exciting finish for this first match in the Finnish T20 Premier League. We've got a change of bowling, I believe. We've got Sadiki coming on now for his first over. Again, probably persisting with the slower option, which is always a good one. A bit of a leggy here, bowling to a right-handed batsman. He's got a slip in place, which is unusual in the 9th over of a T20. As the first one is launched straight up in the air. And there is a chase for the fielder, who's very, very straight. In fact, it's the fielder that comes round off the extra cover boundary that fields in the end, and they pick up a couple. Going back to Andrew Armitage, the chairman of Cricket Finland. This CCL, the European Cricket League that Helsinki were due to play in, the brainchild of Daniel Weston, as you were saying, who himself played at a very decent level. And mirroring this explosion there's been in Germany, for example, for cricket lately. One of our Nordic neighbours, Denmark, smallish population similar to Finland, and have produced some very fine cricketers. So there's a certain heightened interest, isn't there, in Europe? It's not quite, apart from obviously England and Ireland, it's not the backwater of cricket that many people perceive it to be, hence the interest shown in this European cricket.
Absolutely, and I was just going to say, I'd add to that, not yet then, Richard, because I think we've been looking to develop the cooperation at a more intense level with our Nordic neighbours, Sweden, Norway and Denmark in particular, and then Germany sort of came on board and we officially approved them as a Nordic country last year. So Brian Mantle and the team at Cricket Germany and obviously Daniel, with Daniel's role as well with part of ECL and what he was doing with Cricket Germany, and then we were watching obviously what was going on there and also looking at the same time to see otherwise what we could do together. Obviously we don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. That's the master plan, that you can actually achieve lots of things together rather than alone. So the 5 countries of the Nordic Plus, as we call ourselves, I think it was Maya that came up with that idea, so that we could squeeze Germany in with a suitable title. So it's Nordics Plus, officially including Germany, and that obviously covers everything, again, as we were saying before, from grassroots cricket development to women's cricket development in particular, which is one of the high priority items that all of us have on the agenda. But of those 5 countries, then obviously there's some have a little bit more history than others, and we want to try and assist the development of different areas of the game together. So it's that's something else which then the ECL, as you mentioned before, obviously when Daniel was first in touch last year and we were looking at what we could do long term and how Finland could contribute to the European cricket picture, then obviously that was something else that fit in nicely with the plans of local club development, because I think that's fundamentally, at the end of the day, we've got to have a better club structure for us to be able to deliver long-term growth. We've got to have better governance in clubs. We've got to have more members in clubs. We've got to have those clubs better organised so that they can deliver more cricket, junior programs, women's programs, and all of those things. You know, they don't happen overnight. And you know, that's one of the reasons why we want to up the ante in terms of what's happening with cricket, give more inspiration for people to take up cricket, and for the existing clubs to see more and more of future opportunity.
Just say the wicket that's fallen, Manoj stumped for 15. New batsman is Patabendi. So what, 44 for 4, all the fours in the 9th over, towards the 9th over. Vantaa now, things starting to stutter a little bit, chasing 146. It's looking to be a difficult task now. End of that over, 9 gone, then 44 for 4. And I don't want to go into the politics of it all, but you've spent a lot of time with the ICC, the International Cricket Council. Is there a general recognition, do you think, in the higher echelons of the game of the progress that's being made in Europe? I mean, it seems on the wider level that you don't get so many of the smaller nations playing in the bigger tournaments anymore.
Saying that, you know, anymore, I mean, what does that mean in practice? I think there was a realisation quite a few years ago. I mean, somebody like me, originally from Manchester back in the day, having played cricket since I was 5 or 6 years old and been involved with the game ever since, then obviously there's a different relationship with the game in all of our representative countries across Europe, where it's not embedded into the DNA of the country in question, and sort of it makes you think differently as to how you need to develop the game. And I would probably say, you know, both of them's Ashes 81, and those are part of my youth, which you know, that was still an Ashes is a test series. How much test cricket would new countries really be interested in? Okay, you know, ultimately, I'd probably say that I was a test cricket fan back in the day. I enjoy watching ODIs, but ultimately, you know, even a 50-over game of cricket is still far too long for new people, introducing new people to the game. We've got to have something which is short and sharp and interesting, that we can get more and more people involved in playing. And let's face it, if you've not got a lot of infrastructure in the country, and you've not got a lot of clubs, and you're trying to get more and more indigenous people involved with the game, then you're not going to do it with 50 over, 40 over hardball cricket. That's just a reality. It's whether you agree or disagree with me, it doesn't really matter, because you know, when you're in a country like this and lots of other countries in a similar situation, then you have to look at what can you do in that country to actually get more people involved in the game. And as much as I like longer formats, and when I was a little bit younger, preferred to play them as well, not just watch them, then you know, I think ultimately the future of the game at an international level as well is in T20 and 10-10 formats. And the T20 format, obviously, as you mentioned before, not seeing a lot of countries involved on the international stage. I think that's the opposite with the T20s, because T20 internationals, global rankings, all those types of things which the ICC has been working on for a while, and which has kicked off properly then last year with both women's and men's. And I think, you know, we the last event that we hosted before Corona lockdown was a view-in live session of the women's T20 final from Melbourne with 85,000 people at the MCG, and we had the building full at the Olympic Committee building in Helsinki, where we have an office, and all watching a women's game of cricket live from Melbourne with a full house. You know, so I mean, who would have said that? You know, even never mind 10 years ago, 5 years ago, if somebody had told you that that's what you'd be seeing, then you know, I don't think there's a lot of people that would have been able to envisage it. And I think that's the way we've got to be visionary about what we do. We've got to look into the future, and we've got to think big and deliver.
Interesting thoughts there, and I know it's taken an awful lot to get cricket to the stage that it has in many countries. But it's patience and it's effort, and it's getting people to realise the beauty of the game a lot of the time. We'll just bring you up to date then. 47 for 4 in the 11th over. Sadiki, the bowler. Helsinki continuing this slow bowling policy. That one is a wide though, down the leg side. So 146 reminder that is the target for Vantaa in this first Premier League T20 match of the season. And they're getting a little bit stuck at the moment, Vantaa, in chase of that target. Vasha Mohammed is the batsman on strike. Again, he's just chopping that into the offside. A mix-up, because there would have been a fairly easy single in the end there, especially after the misfield, but the striker was sent back and they've missed out a little opportunity there. So a few dots starting to build up the pressure here. Helsinki, favourites perhaps going into this game today, starting to reassert a little bit of authority in this Vantaa reply now, as they are rather limited at the moment to singles and the odd two. As the shadows lengthen on a lovely evening. It's by no means very warm, but it's pleasant enough, ideal for cricket I'd say, and very dry, which is what you need. Rolling around on wet grass is no fun, particularly in Finland, let me tell you. That's a nice little shot, just dabbing it down very late to the vacant third man area, and they go through for a single. It could be an interesting finish this, because they've got batting firepower, have Vantaa still. It's just the rate has been curtailed somewhat by Helsinki. They're very sharp in the field, as well as having a very good bowling attack. This one is wide though, it's called wide as well by the umpire. That one's slightly shorter, turned around the corner. There is a man at fine leg, unusually for the bowler. And they pick up another single. End of the over. 11 gone then. 52 for 4. And looking at this win probability, which is calculated by one of the scoring systems here, of 15%. Things are looking a little difficult from here on for Vantaa. And Andrew just going to bring us up to date in a moment, because we've got a few more matches to bring you over the course of the next week and a half. Also, the weather's looking good as well, at least dry, so we should get those in. We're back here tomorrow for your own club, SKK, against Helsinki Gymkhana.
Yeah, that's right.
We're bringing that match to you on the ECN network as well. And then another T20 match to come on Wednesdays. This is a short delivery, not really timed, or it came off the handle a bit. That one dribbled down to fine leg and they just went through for a single. So finding it tough going at the moment. But we were saying that this is the only cricket going on in Europe at the moment, at least at a competitive level, as the next delivery tries to drive through the V and gets nothing on it. There was due to be some elsewhere in Sweden, I believe, but that's now been changed. Hence, we are here doing what we're doing today and bringing you this on this broadcast platform.
Indeed. As ever, I think it's all about sort of reacting to opportunities that arise, and I think in the last 48 hours or so, then that's been an example of the situation of where we find ourselves here. That trying to find solutions at short notice and make things work for the development of the game in general, and getting ourselves out there. And I think that's what all this has been all about. And obviously that kicked off with the discussions that we had with Daniel back last year about ECL and the future. So yeah, it's credit to the team both here, who are almost all on a voluntary basis, and also Daniel and the team with people all over the place putting this together. So this is an example of a collaboration to make something happen, which in this particular case, for this particular series that we've got now, didn't exist last week. So I think we look at Corona and how that's impacted on our lives in so many different ways, and this is just another example of one of those, and one that we're trying to turn around and make it into a positive out of a very difficult situation. So huge credit to all involved, really, yourselves included, Richard. So
indeed, yes.
I'm sure you had something else to do on a Monday night until.
Well, you credit my social life with a lot more than exists. Bhatia coming to the end of his spell, an excellent spell, I will say. 4 overs, his allotted 4 overs finished. Now 1 for 16, which is terrific figures, and Vantaa 56 for 4 after 12 overs.
A little fact for the evening. Amrik Bhatia just finished his 4 over spell, represented Finland in its first ICC international tournament, where yours truly was captain, 2001, I believe, if my memory serves me right. So there you go. Ex-national team player himself, although a long while ago.
There you go. We still do it. He's still doing it.
Yep.
We will be seeing you tomorrow, putting you.
No.
Change of bowling, we should say. We're moving on quickly from that one. Look at the Zaki Kamal. Coming on, persisting Helsinki with the slow bowling options, which has got them to this decent position now. 1-4-6 seems an awful long way off for Vantaa now. They're going to have a few big overs. Okay, well, there we go. That says tells its own story. In comes Kamal, that slightly strange action of his, which has fooled me on occasion, I can tell you. He suddenly darts out to the left and then comes in very close to the stumps when you think he's not going to. There he goes, and he comes, number 9 on his back, giving that. So he's bowled him. There you go, a lot of dip on that one in the end, and the batsman just threw the shot a little bit, not really getting his feet to the pitch, and he's cleaned him up there, so he's done the trick straight away. First over of his spell. Patabendi is the man out, and Vantaa now really in trouble with 5 down. So 56 for 5, Vantaa. Yep, in the 13th over. Madura Milan, the new batsman, to the crease. To face Kamal. He's in. That's another looping delivery, but on the spot and clubbed out into the onside by the new batsman for a single, though, only. Boundaries are sorely needed if Vantaa are going to get close to this. You feel it might have gone now, but anything can happen, of course. 2 or 3 big overs, it might all change. But Helsinki certainly in the driving seat now, as this one is launched on the full again. That's the deep mid-wicket or deep long-on area. Slight fumble, but again it's just a single. The ball travelling and middled nicely, but as always, if it's straight to the fielder, it doesn't give you much more of an option than a single. He's come out again, full delivery, waiting, hitting it on the half volley. Again to the similar area, long on comes in to field, and again it's just a single. Kamal in again. This one has gone squeezed up in the air. That would be out if it was in the ring, but the batsman had pushed back, the fielders rather pushed back on the boundary, so it fell safe. But again, it's no more than single. Looking for the similar area most times, but not getting enough on it to make it count for a boundary. 140, no, we're not 143, so I was going to read the old score out. 146 is the target. And at the end of that over, .61 for 5. Vantaa. Siddiqui in again. Over the wicket. Oh, that's bamboozled the batsman. Just trying to sort of dab it down rather non-committally into the offside. Nothing on it, no run. Comes in again with his leg spin, giving it a lot of air. Batsman content just to turn it into the onside. But it's not enough at this stage for Vantaa. Singles. And it's getting towards that stage now when even 2 or 3 big overs might not be enough. Again, trying to launch that into the onside on the full, but again it dribbles out really to the fielder at the mid-wicket boundary. But of course the lack of pace on the ball allowed them to come back for a second, which is a rarity at the moment. 64 for 5. This one's uppish, cut into the offside. I think it's going to go away for 4, and that is a welcome boundary for Vantaa. Just running away down the hill a little bit towards the fence there, as it tends to do here. Not a huge slope, but enough on it. That shouldn't worry Helsinki too much. They're in the driving seat for sure at the moment, with 146 the target. Oh, it's a full delivery quicker as well. And we've got the batsman in a bit of a pickle. He's managed to squeeze it out down towards fine leg. There's a big run round because the guy fielding at deep square leg has got to do all the work. Nonetheless, it's still only 2. And the score moves into the 70 for 5 now. Just waiting on that, the batsman. Another single into the offside. There's another good over from Siddiqui. 3 overs, 1 for 17. Has helped limit Vantaa to 71 for 5 after 14 overs. 6 overs left then. And they've got to more than double their score if they're going to get there. 73 runs to win off 36 balls with a run rate of just over 12. Hamza, the man on strike now for this new over, picking up a single at the start. Which brings Washer Mohammed on to strike, who's on 9 at the moment. Kamal comes in over the wicket, no run. Another dot ball doesn't add to the Vantaa cause. 15 overs gone, 73 for 5. Vantaa, long way off, 146 to target, 5 overs left. And Siddiqui's figures, 1 for 17 off 3. Kamal's bowled 2 overs, 1 for 7, which tells you its own story, really. Vantaa are rather stuck in a hole here. A rarity here for Vantaa, 2 runs off that delivery. But you feel it's not going to be enough. Siddiqui continuing into his 4th over. Those terrific figures so far, 1 for 19. Another dot ball. Or the wide, I apologise, sorry, yep, given a wide. Could be a run out here. Oh, the throw wasn't so good. And the fielder at the stumps missed it altogether. We're getting to that stage now where risky singles are feeling like suicidal singles because they're not enough at the moment. .77 for 5, Vantaa. Another wide called, so 2 rare blots on the copybook there of Siddiqui. But it's unlikely to do his side any great harm now, as he's in again. This one's up in the air. Oh, he could have been a diving catch there, but it eludes the left-handed dive of the fielder. And the fielder mopping up doesn't pick it up cleanly, and they come through for 2. 80 for 5, Vantaa now. Whoa, and there's a drop. Could be 4. No, he's just managed to kick it back off the boundary rope, having spilt it, the fielder at long on. It was a terrific hit. I thought it was going to go all the way for a moment, but the fielder who got there in the end, Ellen Cherry, spilt it and almost knocked it over the rope. Not that it's going to be too disastrous for Helsinki at this stage, who are very much in control. Another single picked up. But generally a very strong fielding side, Helsinki. Should be the end of the over. 1 more. We're 2 wides in this, I think, haven't we? As Siddiqui finishes off his spell, and again, full delivery. Waited on by the batsman, missed by the diving fielder, who knocks it over the rope for a boundary to finish that Siddiqui spell. 4 overs, 1 for 30. Vantaa, a good over that one for them. 86 for 5. 16 gone, therefore 4 remaining. Target is 1 for 6. Kamal's to continue then. 2 overs, 1 for 7 so far. Slightly quicker delivery. She's pushed out into the onside, and Helsinki almost exclusively dealing in slow bowling options. Strangled Vantaa tonight. Another 2 to Vantaa. to the Vantaa cause, which is looking like a lost one now, into the 17th over at 89 for 5. I must perhaps step on it a little bit, because you never know at the end of the tournament whether run rate will come into it or not, and with a few wickets in hand, I think they might want to just press on anyway, if not for a little bit of practice. Another single takes them on to 90. So 34 this partnership's been worth, which is a decent partnership, but unfortunately they were a little late starting and it hasn't been at a great run rate. This is a terrific hit though. I think this might carry to the fielder. It does, who takes a good catch falling backwards at deep mid wicket. He did get hold of it, but it's a long way over there, and not enough. And the batsman Washer Mohammed perishes for 15. Anaketh Pushday, the man taking the catch there. And a good catch it was too. Right, skipper Ranuka is in for Vantaa now. See if he can press the accelerator button in the dying embers of the innings, just to give it a little bit of impetus, improve that net run rate perhaps. This one's short and should go. It doesn't really go that far. The fielder inside the ring fields. He's out of his crease, and there's a direct hit from the bowler, and he's given out. So far from upping the run rate, it's up the wicket rate somewhat more, and a short stay. It's Milan, isn't it? Kamal was the fielder. And a great piece of fielding it was. But pressure telling. So 2 quick wickets, 90 for 7. Vantaa, 2 batsmen at the crease on 0. So if the task wasn't difficult enough already, and it's well, they've got nothing to lose now, have they? These two, they've just got to get a bit of practice in. At 90 for 7. In the 17th over, the last ball of the 17th over now, to be bowled by Kamal. 2 for 11 he's taken off these 2.5 overs. He could be in business here again. He's just falling short of the fielder at long on though, and it's just a single. Ends another very good over for Helsinki, who are on the verge of winning this first match in the T20 Premier League here in Finland. Big appeal here. First delivery from Saeed to the batsman. We're going to get overthrows as well in the midst of all that appealing. Not that it's going to affect the score, but the batsman's not going to be. Oh, it's leg byes are given. Not entirely happy with the runs coming off. A bit of a chaotic situation. .93 for 7. Vantaa, Saeed, a little bit more pace on for first time really. This unusual almost hop off the wrong foot from Saeed. Takes the batsman on the pad. Is he leg by given, or has he got an edge to that? No, must have got an edge into the pad or something. First time they've gone to a bit of pace really, Helsinki. They've strangled the life out of this Vantaa innings with some slow bowling, some very good slow bowling. Big swing from the batsman, missed by the keeper. They'll get through again for a bye here. So 96 for 7, final ball of this over, the 18th. The side is in, full toss, bowls in. Thought for a moment when that started off it might have been going up towards beamer height, but it dipped. The batsman's tall, it's well within legitimate area, and a big swipe. It always happens, often happens. Full toss, batsman's eyes light up, big swing, bowled. Best ball in the book. So that's the 8th wicket down then. Vantaa, his innings is just dying out a little bit now. 96 for 8, long way from the target of 146, which is not in danger this evening. Just a case of seeing how close they can get.
Come on, Zaki. 62.
Kamal's continuing, and 2 have been taken off the first ball of his over. Which will be his final over, this one. 2 for 14 he's taken so far, into the 19th. .96 for 8. This one hoisted in the air, not middled at all. Just a single as the fielder comes in from long on. Full toss from Kamal. Pushed up to extra cover, no run. He might have middled that one, and again the fielder has made a bit of a boo-boo of that one, and it's ricocheted off his hands and gone away for 4. I don't know whether he picked it up or not. It seemed to bounce in front of him. It's perhaps one of those he thought about going for and then better thought of his teeth before stepping back. So it's a boundary, which brings us, well, we're up into 4 figures, aren't we? 3 figures, 104 for 8, Vantaa. Now in the dying embers of this one. This one is a loopier delivery, which the batsman waits on and can just play back to the bowler for no run. End of the over, end of the 19th. That ends Kamal's spell as well. Terrific spell, 4 overs, 2 for 20. And Vantaa going into the final over, 104 for 8, needing 146. Side then to finish off the innings, bowling for Helsinki. And they're going to run the start of that first ball, Vantaa, whose cause has gone now, 105 for 8. Big swing this one, middled, but up to long on. A bit of pace on the ball, you see, and they seem to be able to hit through the line a little better now, but that's one thing they've not had to play with during this innings, Vantaa. Helsinki choosing to take the pace off it. 106 for 8. Side races in away from us. Slingy action. Doesn't come from a great height, but with the pace on the ball, a gentle push into the offside brings a single. Looks like it was going down the leg side comfortably there. Go through for a leg bite. Couple of balls left in this innings then. 108 for 8, Vantaa. Finish it with a flourish. Nothing to lose now. Side wanders back to his mark and turns. Shorter ball, that gets up a little bit. Just fended off into the offside for one more single. Round to the final ball then. For Helsinki to bowl in what's been a fairly comprehensive and comfortable victory in the end. They had their own wobbles during their batting innings, but recovered well enough. But they've strangled the Vantaa reply from the very start. His side then. Full length delivery, big swing, bit of an edge. Dribble through to short third man, and that's the end of that. Vantaa finishing 110 for 8, chasing 146. So it's a pretty comprehensive and comfortable in the end victory for Helsinki. Well, we've enjoyed bringing you this first match in the Finnish T20 Premier League between Helsinki Cricket Club and Vantaa Cricket Club. More to come throughout the rest of the week, don't forget. We've got another match for you at 1800 Finnish time, which is 1500 GMT tomorrow, and again on Wednesday. And a short break before resumption of some T20 and T20 matches during the weekend here from the Kerava National Cricket Ground.
It's a virtual hug. Virtual hug.
मैं प्रशांत में क्या मैं खोड़ दे भी जाने
हाँ यही पूछेगा मैंने उसको बोला